good to have you again. We have another episode of We Don't Color on the Dog. Of course, I'm Rick Alton, Cena Madison.
Glad to be here.
And on the hot seat is Dr. Judy Bense, President Emeritus of the University of West Florida, longtime friend. We've heard the chimes of midnight together a few times on some issues.
Yes, we have.
So thank you for doing this. The issue that's before us, and of course I've been blowing this horn since January, is that we've got board of trustees that have been appointed that aren't locals, that don't know our university, that are here for a political agenda that isn't in sync with us. Not just me, but the community and what we see from the universities. Cena, you were worked there as an undergrad, as a grad student for a while. You've seen the changes in UWF.
Oh, it was totally different when I was there. I don't want to speak for my age, but we were out in the woods,
keeping our head down.
Yeah, it was totally different.
Yes.
Yeah, it's changed dramatically. I think there are a lot of benchmarks that I look at the university. I moved here in 81, late 81, 82. But what we've seen, and I remember when you came on as president of the university, Judy, is that you really were, let's make the university Pensacola's university.
That's right.
And that really was what your goals. Talk a little bit about the challenges you had back then.
Well, Rick, thank you for having me on.
Good.
And I was a reluctant president at first because I was busy in my archaeological career. You could argue I was at the peak of it. But when I began to realize that I'd been there, I came here in 82.
Right.
And there were so many things that the former presidents hadn't done. And I thought, what is it? Are they afraid? Are they whatever? Are they asleep? And what we really had is traditional academic presidents. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they wanted to make the university the Harvard of the South. And actually, I thought that is backwards. We need to be the University of West Florida.
Right.
And I also knew University of West Florida had just escaped the second takeover attempt by FSU.
Right.
And it was only because the leaders of that group made some mistakes that we are not a part of FSU West. And I knew that the administrations in the past had not really dealt with that. They were afraid of it, they were worried about it, but their political acumen, their understanding of Florida politics wasn't enough.
Right.
So, to make a long story short, I thought that maybe what I could do is, number one, make the university relevant and valuable to the community. Because I knew, and I said in my first town halls and stump speeches, that we had just escaped the second takeover and that another one was coming. It wasn't when, it was if. And if you think the faculty can save us, you're wrong. The students can't save us. The staff can't save us. It's the community that can save us and that will fight for us. But we have to make ourselves valuable to them.
Good point.
And
Good point.
I have been beating that drum. I beat that drum. I said, the first thing I'm doing is, you're going to think I'm crazy, I'm putting out billboards to tell people what we've done for them lately. That is the way our culture works. What have you done for me lately? And if you don't tell them, they don't know, or they have forgotten, or they'll move on. And so that's when I put up billboards all over the state, but certainly here in West Florida mostly.
Right.
And I got the best positive feedback from people on the street. Well, I didn't know we had 6 astronauts. How do we have that? And I didn't know we had so many national championships already with our athletics. And so that was really the first step. And I know that, and then I began to think of ways to make the university valuable. They wanted me to come downtown. I said, we're already downtown. We got 8 acres in downtown, but that's not enough. They want to be in a building like this, the Studer Institute, with a big sign on the building that says University of West Florida.
Right.
And that's the way people can take ownership of their university. And over the years, I was blessed for 9 years as president. I kept that as my number one priority, and it kind of it infiltrated everything we did.
It did. Well, and you started seeing people wear their school colors.
What? Nobody wore gear.
No one. Yeah, no one did.
Buy it.
Yeah, you had banners. We had all that going. But the other thing that happened before you came on that was critical, and it's sort of a lost piece of history, was Governor Jeb Bush did away with the state regents,
Yes.
board of regents, which took care of all the universities in the state, a small group of people, and then created board of trustees for each community. And the goal, and I went back and read the archives and looked at it, the goal, and it was sold to the legislature and to the community, was we want the local community
Right.
to have a say in what happens in the university in their community. UWF, UF didn't have to worry about that, FSU didn't have to worry about it, but all these other universities, Central Florida, South Florida, North Florida, West Florida, had problems with not being connected
Right.
with their community.
Right, and I read the statute
Right.
lately that established the Board of Trustees and who the Board of Trustees, the members should be. And it's over and over, regional residents, familiar with the region, understanding the economy of the region, the market. Now, there were always a couple from the outside. Always, there was a corporate person, there was someone from outside of Florida. And they were there to kind of balance us out, and they did. But yes, it was a regional perspective, and the chair had to be resident in the region.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah, you look at those early board members. A lot of them you worked with, Collier Merrill, of course Louis Baer, Mort O'Sullivan, now Dick Baker. But there were just so many different people locally that were there that actually helped sell the university to the community.
That's right. I mean, we were just a little tiny college of 4,000 or 5,000 students up on the hill in the woods, keeping our head down. They didn't want any trouble, and they wanted to be on a little island. And I thought that is a recipe for disaster.
Right.
Somebody's going to come take advantage of that, and so it's not that way now. And the only silver lining of this particular crisis is that I see the community rising to the defense and championing the cause for the university, because they've seen the value in it. We really haven't done a lot different. We've grown, yes, but we've made ourselves valuable, and people start to give money. The donations to the University of West Florida have just skyrocketed.
Right.
I mean, Daryl Gooden gave $10 million for football.
Right.
The Bear Foundation, $5 million for the College of Business. Over and over, and when I became president, $2 million goal for the year was not met.
Right. Not met.
No.
You've seen it. You've worked with economic development, the sheriff's office. With community health, and you've seen the impact that the university's had on economic development.
Oh, it was huge. It was huge because, we have come so far in this community with entrepreneurship and with tech.
Oh, we got
And
awards for it.
It is all around the university, because without the university, that just does not happen. And we have presence downtown with the Center for Cybersecurity. I know when I was looking for remote workers and we were trying to bring in tech companies, that's what brings in the kind of people we want. We want the kind of people to come in, they maybe work a remote job for a tech company, but they're going to have the Center for Cybersecurity right there. They know they're going to be turning up people they can hire.
That's right.
And then they're feeling pretty good about it. I'm going to start my own company. So we've got the entrepreneurship also at the university, and it works. So we're building our own, and we're bringing them in, both with help from the university. I just can't say enough about what a game changer it was, because it was right when I was getting involved in economic development that was all.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right.
And that really was why I stayed being president. Because I had an escape clause after I was interim for 2 years, because I was a rookie president. I get it. But I thought, this really needs to be done. And one of the things that I began to think about, and I think about it now, is subtract University of West Florida from the community. Just subtract it.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at the ripple effect.
Right.
Look at the things it would stop. Look at the things it wouldn't allow to begin. And that's really important.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break, because I want to come back, because that's one of the things that when I started getting on the high horse and pushing this issue was I wanted people to understand we have so much momentum in this town.
Yes.
We can't afford to lose it. We fought too hard for it. All right, we'll go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to We Don't Color on the Dog. We've got Dr. Judy Bense, President Emeritus of University of West Florida, also a member of the Florida Women's Hall of Fame.
True.
On the power list, number one, the first female that had the power list. We've had two university presidents that have made it, Judy and Martha Saunders. But before we do this, Cena, tell our viewers how they can help us by sharing and liking what we do.
Well, there's probably a lot of ways they could help us, but yes, it really helps the channel. It really helps the channel grow by subscribing to it, and it costs you nothing. At the end of the video, you'll see a little dog come up on the screen. Just click on it and subscribe to our channel. First of all, you'll get notifications whenever we have new content coming out, but it also helps the channel grow. So we really appreciate everyone that has subscribed, and share the messages too. We appreciate it.
All right, we were talking about the economic impact of the university, which has exponentially grown over the last decade. You were able to talk Martha Saunders to come out of retirement to be your provost. Tell us, tell us why you recruited her. I know how it happened because both of y'all have shared the story, but what were you looking for with her, and where and then why did you feel she was such a good fit to come after you?
Well, I worked for Martha. She was my dean when I was a faculty member, and in the struggle to establish a program. And I always wanted something. I wanted faculty lines, I wanted more money, I wanted more student, whatever. And I wanted to become chair. And the chair had changed, and it was sociology and anthropology department at the time. So I went to Martha and said, Martha, I've earned it, I've got it, I want to be chair. She said, no. I said, why not? I've been there 10 years or 12, whatever, maybe 15 years. She said, nuh-uh, you don't have the votes, Judy. I said, oh, the votes. She said, yes, you get the votes, you can become chair. So the thing that tells you a lot about Martha. Martha can tell me and anyone else no, but she'll tell you how to get to yes.
Right.
And that is very valuable in a leader. Now I have tried to implement that in my leadership. So that's my biggest, most important memory of Martha Saunders. And then I saw her move up to be a provost and to be a president at 3 institutions, and I thought, and then I saw that she'd retired and was coming back to Pensacola Beach, and I thought, well, I had an opening for a provost. I had a temporary, keep it in place, keep it between the ditches provost and interim. But the reason that's one reason why I thought she would be she's already a good fit to the university.
Right.
Already.
Knows
Pensacola, loves the beach. I
Right.
mean, she's almost like a Pensacolian.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also knew, but I really wasn't sure when I interviewed her at lunch, not at the formal interview. I said, now Martha, what do you think about football? She said, you gotta have it. I said, she was president of Southern Miss. No, she was a student at Southern Miss when Brett Favre was, and she's good friends with Brett Favre and gets all these fine things from him. And I said, good, because that's on the table. And it was years ahead. I hadn't even spoken about it publicly. I said,
I'd written about it.
Yeah.
It was an April Fool's issue.
It seeped out. So at any rate, those are the primary, and she knew the campus. She knew its problems. She was a good leader, and she had suffered and won several storms in her career. She knew how to rebound from a problem, and that's important, and how to get up off the floor.
Right.
And so those are the reasons I thought she would be a good fit. And then I said, if you say yes, I can't help you. We have a public search. You have to make the case to the search committee. And she said yes. And we work together as a team. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is very important. I said, now, I hope that you will run for president when I retire, but it will be the board that picks you. And I said, you've got to earn it, and we'll do things that demonstrate your abilities. And one of the things was the performance metrics. I was terrible at them. Terrible. I thought we were on the bottom. And Martha was the provost then, and she said, that's my job. I will take that and we will improve in the metrics. And I said, okay, and she did.
Right.
We got up to over 90%, then they changed the rules because they don't like the University of West Florida getting money, and it was a mess. But at any rate, I think the performance metrics, in my opinion, are one of the most important things that Martha did for the university to inside the academic environment in Florida to bring our status up. We were no longer, and are no longer, the little college out in the woods with 5,000 students.
Right.
And that we are an academic player, that we can perform, we do perform. I mean, 80% of our graduates right now earn a starting salary of 43% within a year of graduation. That's huge.
Right.
You know, the whole business of keeping students. We used to be what we call a flight school, where freshmen will come in and they're still living at home or they're in their region and they get used to college and then they go off.
Right.
So we had lots of freshman only students.
Well, I've got
which
some
is
guys I went
terrible.
to school at Ole Miss that are still there. They're on they're still going to their community college.
That's right.
You know, because
Yeah, when I was a TA, one of the things is they were just going there to get their grades up to go to
That's right.
FSU.
That's right.
And they were always like, during my counseling periods, they come in, Miss Madison, you got to get my grades up. I got to get to FSU. I got to get out of here.
That's right.
You know, and that's what's different. That's what's so different
Same
today.
thing. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I looked at the sophomores, you know, the rising sophomores, the freshmen, and I thought, you know, we haven't built a dorm that's really streamlined, high-end, looks like the other major universities. And I built dorms for sophomores, and I gave them first dibs on the wired elevator,
Right,
community,
right.
and just state-of-the-art dorm. There's still a line for people to stay on campus. And we did a lot of other things that helped.
right, yeah, we got rid of the Pizza Huts.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The Pizza Hut dorms,
Right.
which is so crazy because my sister actually stayed in
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those.
People have fond memories.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But it is, you know, that attitude, the performance metrics, you know, it is what is cool about it, or you know, because in today's criticism of higher education, one of the things you hear is, well, you know, the university milks as much money out of them, tries to keep them from graduating, or they get degrees and they don't get jobs, or they don't go anywhere. And every university is having to prove that their graduates are
Right.
finding work or finding, you know, going to graduate level.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I
Nothing.
think it's. I mean, the
Taxpayers'
parent,
money.
as a parent, I wanted to know that.
That's right.
Yeah, but no, and it's perfect. But we're already there.
Yeah.
That's the part that's so cool. We're ahead of the curve.
Yes, and that really is Martha Saunders. And she's done a lot of other wonderful things for the university. But that's the elite level of universities in the state, and she brought us there.
Right.
I was good with other things, you know, and I took the beating for being last in the first year of metrics. And I went up at the Board of Governors and I said, I want a personal time here. I want to tell you, Board of Governors, that I have never been last in anything.
Right.
And never been on the bottom. And this is the last time you'll see the University of West Florida on the bottom. And Martha got to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you look, you know, your time is at the presidency, you had done a great job of getting Pensacola tied to its roots.
Right,
Its
it's kind
archaeology.
of, I began the culture shift.
Right, you really did.
The
You really
shift of
did.
visibility.
Right, you know, and you did the civic club route.
I
you
mean,
you did,
the
but
rubber chicken circuit for
Right.
years.
and people were hungry for where did the Linda land? What were the
Yeah.
And all those things. It was so strange to have the history when I moved here and have so few people talking about it.
Well, right. Find Luna, and that's solid gold. Man.
Right.
Solid gold. And it was, I don't want to say it's luck, because it wasn't, but it was partially luck that it is where the wrecks were where they are. They're so high vis, and it got all the publicity, because on a national level, that's an important milestone for the founding of what is now the United States.
Really is.
Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead. We're going to take a break. When we come back, and we really want to get you involved in Save UWF. There's a town hall coming up. Judy's been at the forefront of the organizers for this, and we'll talk a little bit about it when we come back. Stay with us. welcome back to We Don't Color on the Dog. We got Dr. Judy Bense, Christina's here trying to keep us straight, and then I'm Rick Outson. So thank you for watching us and listening to the podcast. Please like and share it, and just we want to keep doing this, and hopefully you're enjoying it. Judy, we've got the yard sign behind us. Save UWF. Tell us about this grassroots organization.
The imposition of 8 trustees to our board all at once, who were handpicked by the governor, either directly or indirectly, shocked all of us. And especially when we began to read about who they were, what they've done, what their perspective is. And I guess you could classify them as anti-woke, or as MAGA Republicans, or the far right, whatever, but most of them share that political and moral perspective. And it just kind of rippled through the community. We were so shocked we didn't know what to do. And, but people, being the past president, Martha can't talk about it because she's working there.
Right.
But I am familiar enough with the university, and people began to wring their hands with me, but they didn't know what to do. And so Jeannie Godwin called me, and we had a meeting, and she said, well, we've got to do something. And I said, yes, we've got to save UWF, or it's going to change drastically, and it may anyway, but we have to try. And that has grown like Topsy, from 2 people to 10 people to 20 people to 100 people, and it's word of mouth. There's no money. We all have money. We can buy yard signs, we can buy buttons, we can...
Billboards.
Billboards.
Right.
And when, let's do billboards, and all of a sudden the money appears. Then people like Belle Bear began to pay attention, and Belle is a wonderful person, and I just loved and respected her husband, Louis. Mm-hmm. Louis would be on the ceiling. The governor would not be able to go anywhere without him.
Right.
But at any rate, so that's really how it happened. Jeannie began to hold meetings in her house. We began to form a steering committee because there were too many people to make decisions. So we have 4 or 5 of us, and that kind of grows. But people are becoming aware. And also, my understanding of this, you have to get the sign out there. You have to tell people that it exists, why it exists, and you have to have something that is public. So really what I do is I advise the group. I'm in a special position. I have been and have great knowledge and know the leadership in the university today. I know where the university is. I'm also retired, and I am part of the community.
Right.
And so I kind of act as a liaison, a pipeline, an advisor to that group. I tell them they have questions that people really don't understand, how the university operates, what they can and can't do, and how their question is, how will these new board members affect UWF? Well, it's real easy to answer, but they really don't know. They're just afraid for it. And so I said the donations the next week began to be paused. People began to pause their pledges. New donors did come ahead. The students that are coming to the university who want to have said, yes, we're going to come, the show up sign, many are beginning to pull away. Hate mail is coming into Martha. She got an envelope with 1 penny in it and said, this is the last penny UWF will ever get from me. People, all of that. So I shared that with them. And it is, so the group has grown. It's made up of VIPs in our community. It's mostly white-collar people, professional people, and a lot of retired people. And we are free.
Right.
We don't have anything to lose. When we first began to form, the group first began to form, they really stipulated we want people with nothing to lose by fighting the fight.
Right.
And as we've come along, we realize that we might not be able to change this, but we are going to try anyway. If we don't try to change the governor's mind or to change the committee members' minds who have to approve these nominees, then we will be complicit and we will be letting it happen and part of the problem. And so these are not part of the problem people. These are problem solvers and want to know what to do. So I said, okay, let's have a town hall. They said, that's a great idea. And we're going to have it. Quint Studer, people step up.
Right.
You know, every time we ask them, go to the committee meetings. I mean, 2 buses could be filled to go to the committee meetings if that was the strategic thing to do. We don't know whether it is or not. Write letters, tell your friends, bring your friends, and it is just, in one sense, Rick, it has made me very, very happy.
Right.
That the community is stepping up. This is not Judy Bense. This is them. And without them, we wouldn't even have a chance. And so it is very heartwarming for me to see them wrap their arms around those people at the university
Right.
and say, you're important, we are going to pull out the stops for you. This shouldn't be happening, even if they lose the fight.
Right. Well, a couple of things that I think jumped out for people to really understand that this was not just Rick going off with a conspiracy.
Oh, no.
Is that
Oh,
that
no.
very first board meeting that they had
Oh.
during the middle of the snowstorm, and the 8 new board members vote as a block
Yes.
to make Yenor the chairman, the
Yes.
Boise State professor. And then they choose who the vice chair, and they voted, well, one went with one of the older trustees went with the next one,
They
but I think it was a clear message that this is a block that is on a mission. Now, I think the goal is to get them to think differently. You know, I've talked to Don Gates, our state senator, and Don is not happy with this process. He supports Martha, supports the university. You know, he watches the metrics and knows how well they've
Yes.
done. And for him, you know, these appointees have to go through his committee.
Yeah, he
So
calls it the final stop.
Right. But there are a lot of tricks that can be played that we need to be aware of. I've repeatedly gone on social media to ask the governor to come here. 4 days out of the week, he's on the road.
But also, that's still that video is still on our YouTube channel, and if you want to share it, just keep sharing it.
It's on our website.
Yeah,
Right?
share it with everyone you know.
So, but to get him and explain why he felt like this was important. But the town hall meeting is Tuesday, March 18th. It's at if you're an old timer, it's the old SunTrust building.
Right.
It's now the SCI building, first floor. It starts at 5. They've put the agenda out on who will be speaking, but you'll learn a lot. We can strategize on what we can do as a community, and this is, you and I were talking before this. This is in our lifetime. There's certain fights that come up that you may or may not think you can win.
Yes.
But they're still the good fights.
That's right. And you never know. You never know what can
Right.
happen. I don't think they're miracles, but every once in a while there's a twist that happens, and if you're still on the track, if you're still fighting the good fight, you can actually make ground and maybe win.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's so. In us as a community standing behind the university, and I think it's just so critical, a critical message across the state. And that was the other message that I sent out, is that we're just the next. We're not the last
Oh
step.
no,
for
we're not the
this.
first either.
We're not the first, and so this is something that we, and there is support in the legislature for us. And I think that part needs to be, always accepted and understood. So, Judy, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
We've got a new issue of In Weekly out this week. You'll see Mike Papantonio on the cover, another former #1 on the
Yep.
power list.
Yeah.
Mike is you know him as an attorney, but he writes legal thrillers. He's got a new one out, The Middleman, which is about pharmacy benefit managers and how they've jacked up the price of insulin, but it takes real court cases and puts it in a thriller vein.
And it's something that the PBMs. This is all real. This is really happening in our healthcare system, and it's one of the things that in my history that I've always tried to get people to understand. It is a great go and read it, and it can learn from it, because this is very, very real, and it's very, very scary.
Right, and we talk about Medicare going up, Medicaid going up. A lot of local governments self-fund their health care as best they can. Well, that's driving up those prices because they're getting a cut of it. So it impacts us as taxpayers whether or not we get prescriptions or not. So I think that is a fun issue that we've got out, or at least one that I think you'll enjoy and get to know Mike a little bit better. We've got Rising Stars coming up in April. And then you've worked on a great interview.
I had a great interview this week, and I encourage everybody to check it out. May Pang, who was the companion of John Lennon during his lost weekend, or what Charlie Ocean and I used to call the May Pang period in John Lennon's life. She is coming this weekend with her photography, and what's so interesting about her is that she never got to speak for herself. She was a voice that was lost, as so often happened to women. I mean, it's one of those things. I love stories about women reclaiming their own narratives. Mm-hmm. And this is a situation of that. With her photography, she wasn't just a non-entity. She was a very interesting person that had a fascinating time. And she is going to be it's going to be at the Archaeology Gallery this weekend, and she's going to be there to meet fans and to talk about her pictures.
That's great.
And I encourage you to come out. But go ahead and listen to the on Rick's blog. There is the podcast that I did with her, because there were stories that nobody's ever talked about before, and especially if you want to listen to the end, we talked about how she found out about John Lennon's death, which is just I want her to tell that story, right, because it blew me away. But what a great lady, and check out that podcast as well.
And we keep loading all the interviews up I try to keep as many of them up for you to listen to, and please, it's a way to. It's that old radio part of me that I always like to put all my interviews out for people to listen to them. So you can go to the blog, find it. Cena really does a great job of running the YouTube side of We Don't Color on the Dog, and we'll get, of course, if you're watching this, you're seeing us on YouTube. So please like us, share us.
And don't forget our merch. We still got Gulf of Mexico t-shirts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Never forget. Thank you for watching this day. Judy, thank you so much for coming
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. Thanks for watching, and to keep up with what's going on, be sure and subscribe. Just click on the little dog to the right and click the subscribe button. You can also like this video and click on the bell, which will notify you of new content. This really helps the channel grow. We appreciate you.